The internet woke up to absolute chaos as one name dominated every timeline: Tasha K. And this wasn't your usual round of celebrity gossip. This time, she claimed to have DNA receipts that could blow apart everything fans thought they knew about Yandy and Mendeecees. Within hours, social media went into meltdown: Twitter threads, TikTok duets, YouTube live streams, everyone dissecting every detail, every glance, every old post for clues. The smallest interaction between Yandy and Mendeecees suddenly looked suspicious, while Jasmine's cryptic captions were treated like coded messages. Hashtags like Yandy DNA, Tasha K receipts, and Mendeecees truth exploded across platforms, and clips from Tasha's livestream hit 500,000 views before noon. But the real fuel came from the silence. Yandy and Mendeecees didn't say a word. No posts, no denials, no clarifications. And in the reality TV world, that silence spoke volumes. Fans began to wonder if this was real drama or just another publicity stunt. Yet the tension felt too raw, too personal, too unpredictable. As the hours passed, online detectives turned speculation into obsession, convinced that the truth was buried somewhere between Tasha's tone and Yandy's absence. What started as a single live stream had erupted into a full-blown digital wildfire, one powerful enough to threaten reputations, loyalty, and love itself. And as the internet sharpened its claws, one thing became clear: the hunt for truth had just begun. As the day unfolded, the chaos only intensified. What started as whispers on Tasha K's livestream had now grown into a full-blown media storm, with every gossip outlet and blog racing to post their exclusive version of events. YouTube channels dropped reaction videos by the hour, and podcast hosts invited self-proclaimed insiders to spill tea that blurred the line between truth and storytelling. The streets of social media were alive with speculation, screenshots being shared, timestamps analyzed, and old interviews pulled from the archives like evidence in a digital courtroom. Fans began to connect dots that probably didn't exist, but that didn't matter anymore. Perception had already taken over reality. Pages like The Neighborhood Talk and The Shade Room amplified the narrative, reposting clips and comments that hinted at long-buried secrets. Someone dug up a clip from a 2017 reunion where Jasmine and Yandy avoided eye contact. Suddenly, that moment became proof. Another clip showing Mendeecees looking uncomfortable during a fan question about fatherhood went viral again, rebranded as the reaction that says it all. The internet didn't need confirmation. It needed drama. And this story was serving it on a silver platter. Even casual viewers who hadn't followed love and hip-hop in years were now glued to their screens. The comment sections were flooded with people taking sides. "Yandy's been too perfect for too long," one person wrote. "This is karma," another said. Meanwhile, others defended her fiercely, accusing Tasha K of stirring up unnecessary chaos for clicks. The battle lines were drawn, and every post added fuel to the fire. Behind the scenes, producers, PR teams, and friends of the couple were scrambling. A few insiders claimed that Yandy had been blindsided, while others insisted she'd known about the DNA issue for months. No one could agree on the truth, but everyone was talking. And that was enough to keep the story alive. The idea that this could actually be real sent shockwaves through the fandom, shaking the foundation of what people thought was one of the most solid relationships in the franchise. By nightfall, new receipts surfaced, blurred documents, cropped text messages, and anonymous DMs supposedly confirming the DNA revelation. Were they authentic? Probably not. But in the world of viral scandal, authenticity doesn't matter as much as attention. The louder the noise, the more people listen. And by this point, the noise was deafening. The internet had turned into a stage, with Tasha K standing at the center and Yandy, Mendeecees, and Jasmine trapped under the spotlight. What had started as gossip was now a cultural spectacle, a digital soap opera unfolding in real time. And while the audience demanded answers, the people at the heart of it all still refused to speak, leaving room for the wildest theories to take root. By the next morning, the situation had reached a fever pitch. Every corner of social media was saturated with debates, reaction videos, and wild fan theories. Twitter Spaces were packed with thousands of listeners dissecting every second of Tasha K's live stream, while TikTok creators turned into full-time detectives. Piecing together timelines like this was a true crime case. Instagram gossip pages dropped side-by-side comparisons of Yandy's old posts, pointing out emojis, captions, and even her outfits as proof that something deeper was going on. YouTube was even louder. Commentators replayed clips, paused on facial expressions, and claimed to read hidden guilt in Mendeecees' eyes. What made it all more chaotic was how divided the internet had become. Half the crowd was convinced Tasha K had uncovered a massive lie. The other half accused her of pushing clickbait for views. But regardless of who people believed, everyone was tuned in, commenting, reposting, and reacting in real time. Even verified celebrities couldn't resist. A few dropped cryptic tweets, while others liked shady posts that fueled the flames. The drama had become bigger than the people involved. It was now a full-blown digital circus, a live event where millions participated from their phones. And in this storm of chaos, silence from Yandy and Mendeecees only made things worse. Every hour they didn't respond, the internet filled the gap with more speculation. Some claimed Yandy had left the house. Others said producers were forcing everyone to stay quiet until cameras could capture the fallout. Theories got darker, messier, and meaner, blending truth and fiction until nobody could tell the difference. Still, one thing was undeniable. The scandal had taken on a life of its own. What started as whispers was now an uncontrollable wave of commentary, gossip, and obsession. And as views climbed and narratives twisted, the question hanging over everyone's head was simple. If the DNA rumor was fake, why weren't they denying it? Behind the carefully curated silence, the tension inside Yandy and Mendeecees' world was boiling over. Away from the cameras and fan theories, reality was setting in. The calls from producers, the texts from friends asking if the rumors were true, and the gut-punch realization that their private life had become a public spectacle overnight. Yandy, known for her composure and business-first mindset, was reportedly furious yet heartbreakingly quiet, choosing to retreat instead of react. She'd always been the one to protect the family brand, but this time the story was too personal, too invasive. Meanwhile, Mendeecees was caught between confusion and frustration. Every time he checked his phone, there was another wave of speculation, another post twisting his words or reading into his expressions from years ago. Sources close to the couple described arguments breaking out behind closed doors, not just about the rumors themselves, but about how they got here. Did someone leak something? Was this Tasha K's doing alone? Or had someone inside their circle given her fuel? The stress was unbearable. Even the kids felt the shift, as their parents' energy turned tense and distracted. The home, once filled with laughter and routine, now felt heavy with unspoken worry. Yandy wanted to release a statement to clear the air, but Mendeecees urged patience, convinced that reacting too soon would only make things worse. "Let it blow over," he reportedly said. But nothing was blowing over. It was escalating. Every hour of silence added gasoline to the fire online, and Yandy's fans started demanding answers. Comment sections on her old posts were flooded with snake emojis and accusations, while others begged her to protect her peace and walk away. The pressure was unbearable. But even in her silence, Yandy knew one thing. Once a narrative takes hold on the internet, you can't control it, you can only survive it. And as night fell again, the once loving couple found themselves sitting in the same house but in different worlds, both staring at the same screens, both wondering what truth the world believed, and both realizing that this wasn't just another scandal. This was a test of trust, of loyalty, and of how much their love could endure when millions were watching. If the internet was already on fire, Tasha K's next move poured gasoline on the flames. Late that evening, she went live again, calm, composed, and clearly ready for war. With her signature smirk and that unshakable confidence, she began dropping hints that this wasn't just gossip. It was proof. She spoke slowly, deliberately, letting every word hang heavy in the air. "I told y'all," she said, scrolling through what looked like screenshots. "I got the receipts, and this one right here? It's about to make some people very uncomfortable." The chat exploded instantly. Tens of thousands tuned in, hearts racing, fingers flying across keyboards. Every pause, every sip from her wine glass felt choreographed, designed to build suspense. Then she said it, the alleged DNA test. The document that she claimed Connected Names fans never expected to see in the same sentence. She didn't show it fully, of course, just enough to make people believe she had it. That was all it took. Within minutes, the clip was everywhere, reposted, clipped, remixed, and captioned with wild claims. Some viewers swore they saw enough to confirm it. Others argued she was bluffing for clicks, but perception had already won. Screenshots from her stream became evidence, and her tone, calm yet cutting, made it sound undeniable. What made it worse was that Tasha K didn't back down. She doubled down. She teased follow-up episodes, told fans to stay tuned, and made it clear she wasn't afraid of whoever might be on the receiving end. Meanwhile, Yandy's silence started to look like guilt, and Mendeecees' absence like avoidance. Blogs ran headlines like, "Tasha K drops DNA bombshell," "Yandy and Mendeecees exposed," and even mainstream entertainment sites picked up the story. For Tasha, this was business as usual. Controversy was her currency. But for Yandy and Mendeecees, this wasn't just content. It was their life, their family, their peace unraveling in real time. Fans who once cheered for their love story now dissected it like a mystery crime scene. The calm before the storm had officially ended. The storm was here, and Tasha K was standing at the center of it, holding the mic, while everyone else scrambled to breathe. Once Tasha K's second live stream ended, the internet transformed into a massive investigation board with millions of self-appointed detectives piecing together a digital puzzle that no one had actually confirmed was real. TikTok creators built timelines showing when Jasmine and Yandy last interacted online. Reddit threads charted every suspicious gap in Mendeecees' posts, and YouTube analysts compared old interviews frame by frame, claiming they could see the truth in his eyes. Even casual fans joined in, zooming into screenshots, matching background details, and analyzing timestamps like they were solving a murder case. Some fans even brought up past drama from the show, old love triangles, tension-filled confessionals, twisting them into evidence that had supposedly been there all along. Twitter became a full-on battleground, with conspiracy charts, memes, and long threads connecting imaginary dots. One viral post even claimed to have spotted a hidden detail in Yandy's decor that proves she knew the DNA secret months ago. The whole thing was absurd, but it didn't matter. The entertainment had overtaken the facts. The fandom had turned the lives of real people into a mystery game, and everyone wanted to be the first to solve it. Meanwhile, algorithms rewarded the chaos. The more outrageous the theory, the faster it spread. What was once fandom had become obsession, and the line between fan and investigator had completely blurred. As one YouTuber put it during a live reaction, "We're not watching Love and Hip Hop anymore, we're living it." And that was the truth. The audience had stopped being spectators. They were now participants, driving the narrative forward with every click, every post, every reckless assumption. While the internet tore itself apart over theories and screenshots, Jasmine, the woman at the center of the storm, remained eerily quiet. Her social media pages hadn't been updated in days, but that silence spoke louder than words. Then, late one night, a blurry live stream appeared for just a few minutes before disappearing. It wasn't polished or rehearsed. It was raw, emotional, and heavy with tension. Jasmine's face looked tired, her voice shaky as she admitted she was tired of holding in so much. She didn't name names, but she didn't have to. Everyone watching knew exactly what she was referring to. "I didn't ask for this," she said softly. But sometimes, the truth just finds you. The live ended abruptly, but those few minutes were enough to send the internet into chaos all over again. Clips spread across TikTok and Instagram within minutes, each one captioned with interpretations of what she meant. Some swore she was confirming the DNA rumor. Others said she was speaking metaphorically. But to fans, her tone, her eyes, her trembling words, all of it felt like confirmation. And that was all the internet needed to crown it as fact. Blogs jumped on it instantly with headlines like, "Jasmine speaks out, emotional live confirms." The truth? While reaction channels went live to analyze her every syllable, even Tasha K chimed in, reposting a clip with a cryptic caption, "Told y'all, truth always comes out." Behind the scenes, though, people close to Jasmine described her as conflicted and overwhelmed, torn between clearing her name and protecting herself from further backlash. She wasn't chasing fame. She was just exhausted. The pressure had finally broken through the wall of silence she'd built for years. And whether she meant to or not, her few emotional words added the missing spark that reignited the firestorm. For Yandy and Mendeecees, that moment changed everything. What had once been rumor now carried the weight of perceived truth. Jasmine's live became the emotional core of the story, not because she provided evidence, but because she gave the chaos a human voice. In that moment, the drama stopped being a spectacle and started feeling like pain, real, raw, and irreversible. The aftermath of Jasmine's emotional livestream hit like a shockwave, shaking every corner of social media and leaving Yandy and Mendeecees at the center of a digital firestorm. Within minutes, the clip was everywhere. On gossip blogs, celebrity pages, and mainstream outlets that usually stayed far away from reality TV drama. Fans who once adored the couple were now divided. Half stood by Yandy, insisting she didn't deserve public humiliation, while the other half accused her of crafting a perfect image built on secrets. Mendeecees, who had always been calm and collected in public, suddenly became the target of endless scrutiny. Every old interview, every affectionate post, every subtle hesitation was replayed as proof that he had been hiding something all along. Behind closed doors, sources claimed the tension had reached its breaking point. Emotional conversations, late-night arguments, and calls from producers desperate to convince them to go on record. Yandy was reportedly heartbroken, yet determined not to let anyone exploit her pain, while Mendeecees seemed torn between protecting his family and defending his name. Meanwhile, Jasmine's words continued to echo online, replayed millions of times as fans debated whether her truth aligned with Tasha K's claims. Even fellow castmates couldn't resist commenting, some offering prayers, others throwing subtle shade through cryptic Instagram stories. The entire situation had evolved from scandal to spectacle, and no one could look away. For every person calling for compassion, 10 more were adding memes, jokes, and reaction videos, turning heartbreak into entertainment. It was cruel, but it was the reality of digital fame. Once your private life becomes content, you lose control over your own narrative. And as the story grew louder by the hour, one question remained unanswered. Would Yandy and Mendeecees finally speak, or let the world decide their truth for them? After days of silence and endless speculation, Yandy finally broke her silence, and when she did, the internet froze. She didn't go live, didn't clap back, and didn't rant. Instead, she posted a calm, carefully filmed video. Simple background, soft lighting, no makeup glam, just her and the truth as she saw it. "I've watched people I've loved, memories I've cherished, and a family I've built become a circus for entertainment," she began, her voice steady but her eyes tired. She didn't mention Tasha K or Jasmine by name, but her words cut deep, aimed squarely at the heart of the chaos. "I've stayed quiet," she continued, "not because I'm weak, but because sometimes silence speaks louder than noise." Then she took a breath, long, deliberate, and for the first time, directly addressed the rumor. "There's no DNA test, no secret child, "No scandal hiding in my marriage," she said firmly. "But if people need lies to feel entertained, I can't stop them. What I can do is protect my peace." Within minutes, her video went viral, shared by fans, blogs, and even celebrities who applauded her grace under fire. Support poured in, heartfelt comments from women who admired her composure and strength in the face of public attack. But the internet being what it is, not everyone believed her. Some called it damage control, others dissected her tone and background, insisting she looked too calm to be innocent. Still, Yandy didn't waver. She closed her message with a powerful statement. "I've learned that when people can't destroy your truth, they'll try to destroy your name. But my truth? It's unshakable." That single line became a viral quote, shared across platforms, transformed into fan edits and inspirational posts. Even Mendeecees appeared later that day, standing silently beside her in a brief Instagram story. No words, just unity. For many, that image said more than any live stream ever could. The power dynamic shifted instantly. Suddenly, Tasha K's fire lost some of its heat, and fans began rethinking what they'd believed so quickly. Yandy hadn't just defended herself, she'd reclaimed control of her story. And in an age where narratives are built and destroyed by comment sections, that was her biggest victory yet. In the days that followed Yandy's emotional statement, the chaos began to settle, not because the internet suddenly cared about the truth, but because it had found a new storm to chase. Still, for those directly involved, the damage lingered like smoke after a fire. Tasha K doubled down briefly, teasing more receipts that never came, but even her audience started to shift focus, realizing that her so-called evidence had yet to materialize. Jasmine, meanwhile, vanished completely from social media, her profiles either wiped or set to private. Insiders whispered that she'd moved away to start fresh, though no one really knew for sure. Yandy and Mendeecees, though scarred, seemed determined to rebuild, posting subtle glimpses of normal life again. Family dinners, smiles, laughter that looked almost forced but hopeful. They weren't trying to prove anything anymore. They were simply existing, letting time do what statements couldn't. And slowly, it worked. The noise faded. The threads stopped trending. Reaction channels moved on. But the internet doesn't forget. It archives. Clips of the ordeal still lived in corners of TikTok and Reddit, forever preserved as the drama that almost broke them. Yet, beneath the wreckage, there was something undeniably powerful about how they endured. In a digital world where perception is everything, Yandy and Mendeecees had faced their worst nightmare, public doubt, and somehow survived it with dignity intact. Fans who once judged them harshly began to reflect, realizing how quickly the online machine turns people into stories, and stories into casualties. As one viral comment perfectly put it, they didn't lose, they just learned who was really watching. By the time weeks turned into months, the scandal had become a cautionary tale, a reminder that in the age of content, truth often arrives last. For Yandy and Mendeecees, the journey wasn't about proving innocence anymore. It was about reclaiming peace. And as their final posts showed them smiling together again, it was clear. They hadn't just survived the storm, they'd rewritten its ending.